mic is not being crazy, chat. I think they're good. Yes, I would say we're good. So, good evening guys, and welcome to something just a little bit different. This is still OTL, but of course you will see that it's on a Thursday night. This is OTL Realistic. So, a slightly different setup in terms of the cars go out on realistic performance. So, Red Bull and Mercedes very even at the top. Then you've got the Ferrari and the McLaren occupying that third and fourth performance bracket, and then your Alpha Tauri, Alpine, and Aston Martin, and then Alfa Romeo, Williams, Haas further down the grid. So, some drivers that OTL have not seen before. Who's new? We've got Danny Boy, Mitzi Matt, Volksbub, Helmid, who else? Bossman and Ryan Sam. Ryan Sam, of course, OTL Realistic moving over from SSR, and Ryan Sam coming into the season as the defending champion and gets his season underway on where he left off. So he's starting the season in a car he knows well, so hopefully that gives Ryan Sam the ability to get something out of the race. We'll hang back to see if there's any guys going to jump in on the stream. It is very quiet at the moment. We'll see if Indy comes in to say anything. So, in terms of performance, who do we have? So, the faster guys for the start of the season, you're going to find them in the lower performing cars. So, Mr. Rage and Charlie both occupying the Haas. Then we have SPW and not SPW, in fact, Clarkey. And who's the other Williams driver? I don't think he's here tonight. Then F. Lewis and SPW both in the Alfa Romeo. As we actually have some of our first drivers out on a lap. We could actually have Helmid just about to come to the line. No, he's not. He's coming through the middle sector. Setting up purple as well. Who's that went to the line? It's not bank time. So Charlie, maybe our first man. Yes, he is. Charlie's going to set the benchmark with 29.2 in the Haas. Dixie slots in there in the Alpha Tauri in a 29.0. ENT Exchange a 29.2 in the Alpine, so you'll see the grid. Very compressed. Mitsima in that McLaren in a 28.5. That's a solid lad there for Mitsima off the rip. Another dynamic about Realistic as well, the guys won't be in the same car every week. Cars will be based off championship order, i.e. first and second in the championship will both line up in the Haas. Second and third and fourth will be in the Williams. Fourth and fifth in the Alfa Romeo, and so on until our last two in the championship occupy the Mercedes and Red Bull seats. Any self-retirements and any deliberate retiring will result in you being in a lower performing car the following week, so it's in your best interest to finish the race and finish the race well. Good evening, Skarma. I hope you are well. HOR's resident Wednesday comms man. Don't think MD for the actual race has joined in, Scum. I don't think MD likes me. So full qualifying as well here on the Realistic performance, so guys will just find their feet. They've all had a week now to get to grips with their car. The grid's always announced a week in advance, so they have time to figure out how their car handles. I know from personal experience, I've drove the Haas and Williams car in this format, and the chassis in the car is very, very different. The low performing cars really struggle with understeer, and then you get very quick snap oversteer on it, corner exit, so it's things you need to be very aware of, especially in race conditions. The higher performance cars, of course, feel like they do just in equal performance. And you have some differences in cars, like the McLaren is probably the fastest car in a straight line. SPW struggles a bit at the last corner, that'll just be with hot temperatures, as Pedro flies out the last corner in his Ferrari. Where is he going to go? As he pops the DRS open, and Pedro onto pole with a 28.2. Well, well, well. I hope so too. And now Fingers a 28.1 in that Mercedes car. Got a good draw this week for the first run. He's just got to keep the car in check, and he could go on to have a very, very strong race here tonight, could Fingers. But this is what we like to see in realistic, of course. Names at the front of grids that we probably wouldn't see. Anybody that pays attention to OTL or HOR or hard, no guys like Mr. Rage, F. Lewis, Mr. Rage from Wednesdays, Clark is from Wednesdays, F. Lewis from Mondays, even Charlie from Wednesdays. You know these guys are fast. But in the realistic performing cars, it just brings every day a bit closer together. Of course, every week that dynamic will change as the cars change and the championship orders change. But it should mean every week that goes past, we should have different drivers fighting at the front of the grid. You feel hard done by, Adam? No, 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 come on. It's all open. The Alpha Tauri is a quick car. And just think, Adam, if you're further down the grid this week, it means you're further up the grid next week, so go race your race and you never know. So Green Fingers leads the way. Matoman in the Aston Martin up there in P2 in a 28.2, in some fine form of late. His young Matoman. Pedro, of course, right there, half a tenth behind them. We get Mitsumat in that 28.2, and look how compressed it is between first and fourth. A tenth in it. Then Volkswagen P5 in a 28.5, Bossman in 6 on a 28.5. Ryan Sam P7 28.5 also. Then Helmet P8 in a 28.8, ENTXJ in a 29.0. Dixie in a 29.0, Danny Boy in the Ferrari in a 29.1. Clarky in a 29.1. Charlie on a 29.2. SPW on a 29.5 and Mitch on a 29.5. Mr. Rage, F. Lewis, Mazepin still to set a lap, and a lap is critical for them, of course, because we will lose the bottom three. It's not a P10 car, you're absolutely full of it. It's faster than the Aston, and it's a P6 car. Look, Adam, you just had a poor lap. That's some P10 car right here, all the way up there in P6, and only 4 tenths off pole. I think Bossman might be close to bettering his lap here, and he does. He goes to a 28.3, puts the car into P5, and it very much closes that gap to the front of the grid. Now this is what I hoped, that we would have a very, very tight dynamic at the front, and it just seems to be shaping up that way, although Mazepin and his Ferrari, and his Mercedes, there's always going to be probably one guy that's just a little bit ahead of everybody. I think Mazepin could be the guy. If he can just keep the car on the road and stay chill, he can go on to have a very strong race in that car. And guys, if you haven't already, please do drop a sub on the channel. We're getting very close to that 100 subs, and it means the world of difference. Bossman getting out the way of Mitch there. Is Mitch on a hot lap? He goes a little bit wide there. Gets away with invalidation up. Although he's very close on the other side of the track. I'm not sure why he's over there. Young F. Lewis, let's see, we'll go on board F. Lewis. He's just about to open a fast lap, so we will go on board. Maybe just have a little talk through of what is the floodlit desert track of Bahrain. So DRS open and across the line to open the lap. Into it is a big braking zone at turn 1. Want to spot your braking nice, it's a tight old tailpin. You smash the pedal just about 100 metres and tuck it up into the apex and very gentle on traction. Through 2 and 3, the rear of the car absolutely squirming for you to be gentle on the power, then barrel up towards turn 4. Turn 4, camber always working against you, so the car's always going to try and understeer wide. Then through the little kink of 5, 6 and 7 come at you thick and fast thereafter, then downhill to turn 8. Has to have a little lift through 7. Pick your braking into turn 8, bring it nice and close to the curb. Let the car run wide up the hill to drop down towards turn 9 and 10. So turn 9 is just this little kick, and you get the wheel straight, and then flick it round for 10. Don't touch the curb on the outside as you see there at onset. Unset the car, DRS open as you fly up towards turn 11 and sector, or the middle of sector 2. You just chuck into the apex here and then get hard on the power as early as you dare. Then flat out all the way up the hill. Through 12 and 13, you want to use as much of the curb as the inside as you can. F-Lewis gets all over it, squeeze the power on, use the exit curb. Then down the line to turns 14 and 15, although turns 15 is hardly a corner. So we have one corner left. Turn 14 hit, find the brakes about 70 metres. Get the car into the apex. Let it run wide, using all the track. DRS will pop open, and F. Lewis will put in a 129.2 in his Alfa Romeo. See if F. Lewis SPW is finding any time. He's just in the guts of sector 2, falling down at turn 10. Very good on the power out of 10 there. Aggressive as you deal without sticking the car on the wall. So we'll see as he comes up through 11 and 12 if he's found any time in this middle sector. He was, as I went on the oddball split, just a little bit down. Oh, he needs to find a few tenths and he'll get himself, of course, out that drop zone again. Just a couple of hundredths in it. He's pretty much there or thereabouts. That's going to drag him wide, and he has to get off it there because he knew he was going to invalidate the lap. So what else do we have on? How is Dixie getting on? Oh, I think he's on an out lap. I think he was on a fast lap, but I had to get out it. Where else do we have? So Mazepin did in that Mercedes car. Oh, and there I go, 27-1, even more again. Right, Mazepin, turn the taps off now, you just simmer down. That's the third thing to balance, so because the midfield is very tight, even at the front of the grid it's very even, so the minute somebody gets in a higher performing car, it seems to yeah, it's always going to have that little bit of a moment at the front. Oh, might see Matt using a lot of the inside cup there. 6-7. Give me 1 second, chat. Let's have a little look. One thing. Go on the broadcast cam as we go around with Mitzi Matt. So we came second in our tourney, I will take that. So, as Mitzi Matt improving through the last corner he comes, and missed the split. He does look like he's about to, he does, he finds a couple of tenths and puts that McLaren up on the front row of the grid. I think the Mercedes is just a little bit out of reach. That 8 tenths is a lot of time to find, but... Oh, and Pedro has retired from the session. Oh yeah, of course. It's full qualifying. Nearly got me there, chat. Nearly. So let's hope the guys give me something to talk about for the full think it's 27 or 29 laps. I am not 100% sure. So Dixie boxed, but he did improve to a 28.6. So he found nearly a half a second. And looking like he spent too much time in that McLaren, that's what's wrong with him. So let's see Matoman. Man that's been on a bit of form lately. Let's see a sector 2 split. He's going to use all the circuit. You probably don't want to use too much of the outside curb there. It seems to unsettle the car just a little bit too much on corner entry. You'll find more time staying a bit more on it, but Matt is 2.5 tenths up, so Matt is going to find a 27 lap if he's been tidy enough through 13 and up to 14 and 15. If he gets a good exit out of the last corner, Matoman could get into the 27s, possibly 27.9, maybe even a 27.8. It is a 27.95 for Matoman, finds 2.5 tenths, puts the car on to second. I'll open my can of cherry cola. So, who is in the drop zone? F. Lewis and SPW. Let's get on board. F. Lewis, 3.5 tenths up. So, F. Lewis could be about to be dispatched by his teammate. Has SPW got some time for the last couple of corners? Gets it nicely up to the apex on the turn 14. 15 is nice and good on the exit. Can SPW improve? He does. He goes to P15 and that puts his teammate out. But Charlie, 2.5 tenths up. If Charlie can keep the time all the way through to the end, he could then dislodge SPW. So SPW done enough to get himself into that P15 spot, but Charlie is on a better lap, so let's stay with him as he comes up to that sector 2 split. He's half a second up nearly, Charlie, so Charlie I think is going to put SPW back down into that drop zone. I think we're going to lose SPW, F. Lewis and Mitch, and Charlie could go somewhere around about P11, P12 here. And he goes P12 on a 28.7, and like I said, puts SPW down into that drop zone. Danny Boy's on an invalidated lap, so his session is over. SPW's coasting at the moment. ENTXJ's off the track, and so is Ryan Sam, our defending champion. So that's it. We lose SPW, F. Lewis and Mitch for the duration of qualifying. Mazispin, Volksbob, Mataman, Mitch, Matt Fingers, Pedro, Ryan Sam, ENTXJ, Bossman, Mr. Rage, Dixie, Charlie, Helmet, Clarky, Danny Boy all go through. So, of course, Mitzi Matt is absolutely slam dunkers out there in front. I'm hoping Volksbob's got a bit more pace in his pocket and can maybe put a challenge on at the front. We don't want to see Mitzi Matt run away and charge out at the front, but Mazispin, sorry. Oh, and Ryan Sam goes to the line. That's, you better actually coming into the pits there, Ryan, if you're watching the stream. It's not so bad in full qualifying, but in short quality you're better to come at the pits now, mate, because the AI wreck your tyres bad, mate. They'll put 8 to 10% of wear on just in this little bit of driving they do while guys come into the pits. So it's something you most definitely want to avoid. So Mitch improved to P16. Oh, Mitch actually in the end missed out by 1/100th of a second of getting into Q2. So good effort from Mitch. Was the AIs there have a little bit of a moment. I'm not sure exactly what car we're waiting on now. I'm not sure. I think the best thing maybe people could do is F. Lewis. F. Lewis, if you're thinking I think you need to retire, buddy, I don't know. Just retire. It's saying you're still in the pits and not the checker flag. Or, oh, is F. Lewis lagged out and I've missed it and it's broke the lobby again? Uh-oh. If this freezes at 2, at 1. Oh no. So F. Lewis needs to leave the session. So, Ryan, Sam, Bossman, Fingers, Helmet, Mazispin, ENTXJ, Charlie, Vox, Bob, Clarky, Dixie, Mitzi, Matt, Matoman, Pedro, Danny Boy, Mr. Rage, all into Q2. Now, Q2, of course, a little bit different. It's the tyre picking session. So, whatever you set your fastest lap in here is the tyre you will start the race on. Excuse my little burp there, chat. I am a bogging man. So I'll get my little stream back on. Sorry chat if I went quiet for a little minute there. We were just trying to get the lobby sorted out with that little delay at the end. But it's fixed. And we have some guys out on track. So that's... Oh my god. I am sorry chat. My burping is horrendous. So who's the lead man? I think it's Charlie. And Charlie out on the soft. So it maybe feels that the medium's going to be a hard ask. But this is where you see the guys like Charlie and that scrape that Haas into Q3 and put it in a interesting position to start the race. Popcorn out, that's it. It's game time. And as we see, a little plethora of difference. Some guys out in the softs, majority seem to be choosing the mediums at the moment. But these soft guys, of course, we'll put a big spanner in that. So let's go with Charlie on his soft tyre as he comes through the last corner to open the lap. We will just go quiet, I think, and let Charlie have a lap. We will watch the man at work. Oh, and Charlie unfortunately there picks up an invalidation. Oliver Smalley and just rooting for Charlie as we were on board as well, so super unfortunate he picks up an invalidation there, but he was looking very comfortable. And Greenfingers is out. Greenfingers on his medium compound tyre in the Mercedes car who's dropped it out of turn 3 and the car is in the wall. Oh, Helmed and Clarky both getting out of the way, so I think they're both on out laps here. So just giving each other a little bit of space. Let's see if we can find somebody on a lap. We have an Alpha T. Is it Adam? Yes, it is. So Adam comes up towards turns 14 and 15. It's not really two corners at the end, it is very much just one. But let's see where he goes. He is going to be the bench setter and he is going to be in the sauce. So this is going to be a good indication to these medium runners to exactly where they have to be. Adam sets the benchmark 29.5. Charlie coming around into the pits. I think Matoan's our next man, but he's on an invalidated lap. And then it is Pedro. Yes, it is. So Pedro in his mediums against Adam on his softs. Let's see exactly how that stacks up. A little difference in performance, so we'll see if that has an impact. Pedro pops the DRS open. It's going to be very close, and Pedro only on to P2. But 2.5 tenths in it. 29.7 as ENTXG does a 28.8 on that soft compound tyre, so looking very fast indeed. As Volksbob on the soft does a 28.2. Matomans went for another run on his medium compound tyre. So Dixie doing well there, still well out the way of Matt. Getting a good application of power. Out turn 10. Oh. So it would appear that Dixie is on the medium tyre, so wow, if that's a medium lap for Dixie, that is very impressive. So Adam looking much more comfortable in the car on the medium compound tyre. That's good to see. Matoman goes into P3 on a 29.3 on the medium. So I'm really not sure what tyre anybody's on. Some funny business in the chat. So let me get back to stream. Oh, excuse the coughing. Oh, turn the heating down a little bit. It's a bit warm. Shit. I am slowly but surely cooking myself. So who do we have still to set laps? Bossman, are you on a lap? Ah. He was on a lap, but it's invalidated. That is unfortunate. So is he going to come into the pits, or are we going to start another lap? No, he's going to box off of that. Ryan Sam coming out on his medium compound tyre. Charlie out on the softs and on a hot lap. So maybe we can stay with Charlie just where he invalidated the last time, and we will watch him complete a lap in the Haas on the soft compound tyre. So Charlie out of the last corner, he picks up an invalidation out the last corner. The car just squirmed a little bit. He got a little bit oversteered, pushed him into a bit understeer, and it just pulled the full car wide. And that's super unfortunate because that was looking a very tidy lap for Charlie there in the Haas. So where does everybody stand? Who's our guys that have not done laps? Mr. Rage, where are you at? You're in the mediums and on a lap. So let's see what Mr. Rage can do on the mediums in the Haas. Oh, this could be softs, I don't actually know, because Dixie's tyre was the medium. So it's hard to really say that. Oh, and Rage is definitely going to pick up an invalidation there. He just try to hang it, keep it in the throttle and try and keep the front end dug into the track, but the lower performing cars did suffer so bad with understeer that it's very, very hard to get the front end of the car to play ball. So welcome everybody that's watching. Of course, if you haven't, please do drop a sub on the channel. It would be very, very much appreciated. So Mr. Rage is invalidated, so Mr. Rage, Charlie, Mazepin, Greenfingers of course going out, Bossman and Rysam, 4 of these guys will drop out. Just over 5.5 minutes left in the session, so there is time to get another lap in. Of course, one thing you don't want to do in Q2 is use up a lot of set of tyres. And ideally, it's maybe not a track where it's so critical to hold on, but it would be very much nice to have a new set of softs to bolt on at the end of your medium stint if you're starting on the medium compound tyres. So keeping a new set of softs is kind of big. So you certainly don't want to be kind of overusing your tyres. So Mr. Rage went for another run. We have Mitsumap on a lap ahead, couple of tenths up as well, so Mitsumap's looking to improve and finds that couple of tenths. He'll go close to Ryan Sam in P3 on the medium compound tyre, so Mitsumap could go close to the top 3 here, and I think he's going to be there or thereabouts. Gets the DRS popped open, gets himself to the line, and he only goes P4. He lost a little bit of that last corner, I think. 29.2 for Mitsumap, 7/100ths of a second away from getting to P3. But the critical ones are our guys at the back. Mazepin, of course, looking at the pace he set in Q1, I think he's going to be comfortably at the front. He'll very well probably only have to do one lap. 106 flat for Sector 2, so yeah, he's pretty much ahead of everybody at the moment. Bossman not far behind as well, of course. A critical run for him. He really needs to get a time on the board. You do not want to be trying to find your first lap time at the end of Q2, but Mazepin does go to top, 28.0, couple of tenths ahead of everybody. Maybe just not as much as we've seen before, but maybe not using as much because he knows he's got some pace. And Bossman out the last corner, he pops his DRS open, and Bossman goes to P10, so squeezes out Pedro, Helmaid, Danny Boy, Charlie there sitting in P14 on his soft compound tyre, of course. They couple of invalidated runs, really now probably laying the pressure on Charlie to get himself into Q3 in that Haas. If there is a man on the grid that can get the Haas in there, Rage and Charlie are the boys that will do it. Rage has got it up there in P6 on his medium. Charlie just needs to try and snick it in there behind them. Bossman a little bit up. He may continue this lap if he can find another tenth or two. He puts his teammate under pressure. Is Dixie going to come back out again? We're getting a yellow flag in Sector 3. I don't understand why. I think that's just somebody coming in the pits. 3 minutes left in the session, so we're going to see the majority of the guys start to come out in a few minutes. 1 second, chat will stay with Bossman to the Sector 2 split. We'll see if he's found any more time. He is, he's a couple of tenths up, so we'll stay with him for a minute. Bear with me, please. So I'm back, chat. Let me just double check that my headset's not gone bonkers. Good evening, Mikey. Are we working? Let's just double check. Bossman did improve to P9. So where is our critical man? So I'm not sure if my headset's working. Oh, no, I think not. I think we got something. I think. Can you see me, chat? I don't know. Hopefully you can. I'm just going to wing it that we can. So Danny Boy is on a lap. Charlie out on that medium compound tire. He's going for the last run in the session to try and get that hash through. Sorry for the small minute of silence. Just had to use the restroom a little bit. I think that Pedro coming to the last corner now. Yes, he is, and he's a second up on the soft compound tyre. So Pedro going to launch himself way into this. Goes to P4 on the soft compound tyre. Gets himself into Q3. Dixie now in P12. He is on the soft. And he's a little bit up sector 1, but the soft tyre is going to give you most of the lap time in sector 2 and sector 3. Helmaid is out the lap. Let's see how Charlie's getting on. Danny Boy only improves to P13, so if Danny Boy's going to find time, it needs to go on this lap. How is Charlie going though? Has he got any sector splits to go by? Let's see how much 106.0 is the benchmark. 177, so he's at 1.7 off at the moment. So it's going to be a 29.7-ish. Oh. Let's see. I think Charlie's going to get this. I think my calculations were a little bit out there. 24, 25. Come on, Charlie, what you got? DRS will pop open. Can he get it through? He doesn't. He only goes to P13. So Dixie's a second up. He's coming to the line now. Can he get himself out that drop zone? Into Q3. He's going to square up the car. Launch it to the line. DRS will pop open. Can Dixie go through? Yes, he does. He goes up to P5 on that soft compound tyre. And I think that is pretty much the session over for everybody, so we're going to lose Clarky, Bossman, Charlie, Danny, and of course Fingers with that early retirement out of turn 3 at the start of the session. We lose some interesting names there. I thought Charlie would get the hash through. Mr. Rage, very good job there on his hash. ENTXJ at the top of the timing sheets, of course, on the soft compound tyre, not half a tenth in it. But he is at top. Mazepin comfortably blue. So our 10 drivers for the Q3 shootout: ENTXJ, Mazepin, Volkswagen Pedro, Dixie, Helmaid, Ryan Sam, Mitsima, Rage, and Matoman. Now, I think Matoman went out in the softs at the end, but bluffed the run because he didn't need it. Pedro retires and allows us to continue on to Q3, which will be the pole shootout. Every driver will get 2 runs. Does everybody have a couple of new sets of tyres? That is the question. Because it is a track where the second run in the soft is just not going to give you the performance like the first run, especially in quali trim. So, half a tenth gap at the top, but look at Mazepin with the tyre difference. Of course, that medium compound miles out in front compared to the rest of the day. But somebody you could just put a challenge on into turn 1 and make his life a bit difficult. Straight line speed between the cars is a little bit different, so if somebody in a good straight line speed car, i.e. the McLarens, even the Aston Martins, can get in front of that in the first couple of corners, it might not just be as plain sailing as Mazepin would like it to be. Still, no mean feat to try and get in front of him, because he is looking very, very quick. So the guys get out. Oh, my track map is still there. That is silly me. The guys, 12 minutes, of course, in Q3. they'll only do a couple of runs, that's really all you get time for, and I think right off the rip we've got Mazepin coming out in the Mercedes to get that benchmark time. We've also got a Ferrari getting ready to leave the box as well. I think it could be Pedro. It is Pedro, it's the only Ferrari in the session, so Pedro's going to be our first man out in Q3, and out by a comfortable margin, so he's going to have plenty of track to work with. He can bring his car up into the window that he needs to go round and put that benchmark time, which will be the benchmark time for the rest of the grid, on the board. Mitch has left the session. Wonder what's happened there. Hope that's not a connection issue. Oh, that silly load shedding. I hope not, Mitch. So we have Pedro followed by Dixie, then I think it's Matoman. I think Matt is behind Dixie. Yes, he is. Matoman, and then our two, or Mercedes, and so we've got Mazepin, then Helmut, and then it's Ryan Sam on track, then Mitsima, then Volkswagen, and of course Mr. Rage and ENTXG still in the pits. So Pedro's put a good half a sector between him and the car in second. Oh, I don't know. It's not, this isn't mine, Ranger. Are you racing here, right? I don't know, mate. You need to ask Rage in Discord. That's the best way to do it. I'm unsure, buddy. But if you can join the session, I think you'll just need to join. You'll just be in spectator mode. But I think I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure, mate. You're better to speak to Rage. I don't want to say anything and put my foot in it. So that's the best thing to do. Pedro, but opens his lap. Go on board and watch the Flying Scotsman. He chucks into turn 4 and gets in a very nice exit. How much does he use? Turn 5, uses a little bit and gets all over the curb on the inside. So Pedro looking nice and neat. He's not taking any risks. I think that's the smartest play in the early run in Q3. You want to have a push lap, but just not push the limits. You want to bank a good lap, and then you can push for the great lap in the end. Oh, and I've got no timings on my screen. Why has the game done that? So that's better. We'll get some telemetry up. As Pedro comes down toward the last corner. Look at these guys starting to use all the tracks, trying to find as much time and as much open road into that apex as there. Pedro sets the benchmark though on a 28.5. We've got Dixie not that far behind on his soft. Where does Dixie go? He goes on a 28.8, and then it'll be Matoman to the line. Can he put the car on a provisional pole? He does by half a second. Then we have, I think it's going to be Helmut. Yes it is. He goes 28.4 only into P2 and good enough for P2. Ryan Sam next to cross the line in his first run. We have McLaren not far behind, so Ryan Sam will bank a 28.1. Mitsima goes on to pole on a 27.9. He's our first man into the 27s, but there goes Mazepin 27.2. We knew the Mercedes had a lot of pace in the car today. Mazepin very much under control. Can Volkswagen get himself up there? He just misses out in the 27th. It's P5 for Volkswagen on a 28.1. Where is ENTXG? He's just coming up the hill through 13 and or 12, 10, 11 and 12. So a 7-0 in the sector 2 split. So ENT, oh, and he just gone through a bit too early. He's going to have to back out the lap there. ENTX, Mr. Rage on an out lap. So he's not got a fast one. So first scalp to Mazepin. We felt it was always going to be the way. Mazepin into the 27s in his McLaren, 27.9 in P2. Then the two Aston Martin boys, 28.0, 28.1 P3 and 4. Then Volkswagen P5, 28.1. Helmut 6 on a 28.4. Then Pedro 7 on a 28.5. Dixie P8 on a 28.8. Of course ENTXG had that big moment. And Mr. Rage on an outlet. So the Haas looking not too bad with DRS, it's not too bad in a straight line. Gets the nose in nice into one, let's watch it through two, and you're there, the front trying to wander, and it does, it pulls him over that curb and on the exit of turn two. You just seen it, the car initially turned in and then it just started to pull itself and wander across to the outside of the track, which then of course gives you that invalidation. Knocked my headset there, so I just had to make sure that I didn't send it all crazy. So is this Pedro on his way out again? Pedro straight back out. He's going to do his 2 runs and be done with it. So the final runs will start to commence. Pedro, first man out, Vox Bob. Is he on a lap? I think Vox might actually be on a lap at the moment. He's went a little bit out of time from everybody. Oh no, he's way down on his time at the moment, so he's not on one. Mr. Vade's going to go again on this soft compound tyre. Oh, and that was strange here. It's like he lost a lot of... strange, like he derated at the bottom of the straight there. Using a lot of the inside curve there. So Mr. Rage has had a bit of a mare at Bahrain recently. Let's see him, watch him this race in the Haas be his best one. In the worst car. Highly likely. So, is Mr. Rage going to put the time on the board? It will be his one and only time, and no he is not, he's going to come in. But interesting, I think he was going to be a little bit off the pace of course on the second run of the tyre. So, the outlaps begin, the outlaps begin for the final runs of the session. In fact, Mitzi Matt has already opened his lap, so we'll go on board. He's going to be our first man. Oh no, I take that back, it's Pedro. Where is Pedro? Forgot about our man Pedro. So he's coming up the hill, let's see if he's up in it. And he is. Pedro half a second up, so Pedro threatening a 27 here, and that's a very good exit out of turn 13. 14 and 15 now, he just needs to keep it nice and neat. Get the exit good, get the car nice and straight, DRS will pop open, and Pedro is going to go into the 27s. He does a 27.7 and puts that Ferrari onto the front row of the grid, but Mitsima, oh, and I've just went on board with Mitsima, he was a 10th and a half up, but he's dropped the rear of the car. So that now Pedro could have solidified the front row of the grid here. Where is Ryan Sam? Let's see how much Ryan Sam is up as he comes through the Sector 1 split. He's a 10th and a bit up. Wouldn't be enough to dislodge Pedro, he needs to find a lot of time, and Ryan Sam's now invalidated. Ryan Sam has invalidated. Where is Helmade? How much is Helmade up? Can he get close to Pedro? He's only a 10th and a bit up. Pedro probably about to pull out his best lap of the session in the most critical moment. Matoman now is probably Pedro's biggest threat. Guys may have the chance for another run, like Mitsima is going to go again, but I don't think the second run will come to yet. So let's stay on board with Matoman. Can he dislodge Pedro from that front row of the grid? Chucks it to the inside. Sector 1 split's critical, half a 10th. It's something at the start of the session. So, what has Matthew got? Can he get himself onto the front row? I think pole position is going to be way out of reach for everybody. But how far away can they get? Pedro under half a second off Mazepin. Of course, Mazepin on another lap. I think Mazepin about to bank another lap. In fact, he doesn't. He just gets out it. But Matoman's 3/10 up. So Matoman is very, very, very close to Pedro here. Pedro could be dislodged. Can Matoman put his Aston Martin onto the front row of the grid? Through the last corner he comes. Picks up the throttle very, very nicely. Uses all of the track DRS will pop open. Can Matoman get on to P2? He does. 27.6 for Matoman. Goes onto the front row of the grid. ENTXJ is off his lap. Metzimat's getting out of his lap. Ryan Sam 2.5 tenths up, so will stay on board with himself. Is Volksbob on a lap? He is. He's only up a little bit. He is a lead man though. So it's going to be Volksbob followed by Ryan Sam to get a lap on the board. ENTXG being Volksbob, but he is not on one. Volksbob into the last corner. He goes to the line. Can he improve any on his starting position? He does. He goes to P6. So Ryan Sam, can he put straight back at Volksbob and even maybe some more? He could maybe even get close to ENTXJ here in P4. Oh, Ryan Sam goes P2, it's a huge lap, a 27.5, and slaps the Aston Martin for a second and third. 27.5, only 3/10 off the Mercedes. That is a cracking lap for Ryan Sam. And that is why he's the defending champion. Now Rage, where are you at? Coming to the last corner, what's Rage got on his Haas Mobile? And he's looking not too bad. Can he drag a 27 out of the Haas? Oh, it was close. It's a 28.2 P8. It's a solid lap, and I think Rage knows that his race is going to be staying in the DRS train and striking in the unorthodox moments. Matoman getting out his lap, and that'll be qualifying over. So Mazepin on pole, as we thought. But Ryan Sam in P2 with a big lap at the end of Q3 on that 27.5. Matoman P3 on a 27.6, Pedro P4 on a 27.7, ENTXJ P5 on a 27.8, Mitzimat P6 on a 27.9, Volksbob P7 on a 28.0, Rage P8 on a 28.2, Helmet on a 28.4 in P9, and Dixie in P10 on a 28.8. Come on Adam, get your finger out. You're better than that. So, I'm going to grab a quick restroom break before the race, guys. So I'm back, chat. Let me just check the audio so I'm not crackly. Yes, I'm good. So 25 seconds and the formation lap will get underway. Of course, Mazepin on pole, Ryan Sam P2, Matoman 3, Pedro 4, and then I need to see the rest of the grid because my memory's atrocious and I forgot already. ENTXJ 5, Mitzimat 6, Volksbob 7, Mr. Rage P8, Helmet 9, Dixie P10, Clarky 11, Bossman P12, Charlie P13, Danny Boy 14, Fingers 15. Of course, looking very racing that Mercedes, so he's got a big job ahead of him. Mitch in P16, in the Red Bull SPW 17. F Lewis 18, Mikey in the McLaren in P19. He's going to be one to watch coming through the grid. And Ranger at the back in P20 in the Williams. We don't know the last car available, so that's what they've been put in. So a full grid for OTL's maiden realistic season, run by none other than Mr. Rage. I'm just here to make it sound good, although I probably don't do that either. Mazepin leads the way, and what advice could I have to any driver coming into a realistic race at Bahrain? I think in realistic performance, fighting a car corner after corner after corner is very hurtful. You lose way more time than normal. So if you're going to go for a move, I think you've got to make it stick. It's got to be clear cut, and you've got to be willing to get your elbows out a bit more, especially if somebody's catching you in a faster car. That being said, the racing's usually pretty exciting. It's a really good grid of guys. They're a good bunch, they're a clean bunch. We had the odd tussle and moment here and there, but every division has them. It's Pedro playing the mind games a little bit. He's not wanting to rip his soft tyre too much, so he's happy just to let the guys scamper away a little bit. And Pedro's going to be looking to get the jump on some guys into turn 1. So let's go to the rear of the grid, and Ranger in the Williams, he's way back though, and I think... Oh, he's not left the session, has he? I thought the internet was fixed. This could break the lobby, so guys might need to wait in this Williams doing an extra formation lap. I'm hoping that he just files into the grid. Oh yeah, he's going to file in. Good stuff. So he will file in. The guys will just have to wait a little moment to arrange our filters onto the back. Let's get some data up. Positions changed for the start. Let's have a quick look at the tyres. Everybody outside the top 10, all in the mediums, so we'll bear that in mind. But we'll keep on position change as Ranger files in, and there he goes. So the lights will come on for OTL's maiden realistic season. Round 1 Bahrain, we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's lights out and they are away, and it's a reasonably good start from Mazepin at the front row of the grid. Has the soft guys got away any better? Pedro lost a little bit of ground at the start, so Mazepin will filter through the 2 Aston Martin boys, getting a little bit elbows out. But Matterman will go through on the inside, but Ryan Sam fights back. They're going to go side by side up on the run up to turn 3. Is ENTXJ going to get involved in a soft compound tyre? It's probably not the place to do it. He sees Ryan Sam in that inside line. He says, yep, you know, I'm going to follow your teammate through. I have more grip. I'll get on the inside line, down up to 5 and 6. And absolute splendid driving there from ENTXJ. Very opportunistic. Guys, will need to be careful now. Pedro in his soft tyre. Going to have a look at the 2 Aston Martin boys, but he needs to be careful there. Helmet having a big look down the inside. Pedro was quite a bit away from his apex. Dixie's managed to gain a few places off the start as well. Mitsumat lost a lot. Pedro's went right into the back of Helmet down, so Pedro must have damage off of that. I'm absolutely convinced he'll have damage, and they're all really starting to trip over each other here. Helmet, Dixie and Pedro all up beside each other, and Pedro, he looks like he's got away with damage there, which is very lucky. So Mazepin's off. I think we can just forget about him. He's going to go into a world of his own. But the race for P2 is absolutely on. And what's happening here? Mr. Rage went down a bit. Has he had a bit of a moment? Mr. Rage got some damage, or is the Haas just genuinely struggling? Let's have a look. No, it's just the Haas being the Haas. And look at Fingers' pace on the Mercedes there, down the inside, into the last corner, and through he goes. To Alfa Romeo boys now will go. Pedro and Dixie having a bit of a hung-dung battle. Pedro looks down the inside line. Adam gives him the space. Then he'll go for the switchback through 3, but Adam gets the better exit, and up the hill he goes. So the critical thing now for the driver is, I mean, look at all the guys boxing. Ranger in the pits, Rage in the pits, Danny Boy in the pits, Mitsima and Mikey all boxed. Mikey get double stacked as well, so some wing damage going on there at the start of the race. So unless these guys find a safety car, it's going to be a tricky one to come back to. So the medium tyre guys, they probably need not stress too much about soft compound. It's going to die out. It can work. Oh, and there's been a spinner. What's happened to Danny? Oh, Danny's had a moment and picked up a penalty. That's the game just been reckless in my opinion. So, the traffic jam is behind Matthew at the moment. Everybody just doing a bit, staying in the train now. I think Pedro's happy now just to sit in. Mazepin sits the fastest lap, as we knew he would, and we've got a bug yellow flag down at sector 1, so hopefully that doesn't keep flashing up as DRS gets enabled onto lap 3. Ryan Sam just letting his teammate know he's still there as Helmet comes very deep into the brakes there into turn 1. So DRS will come open, and is there going to be any moves here? We'll watch from the rear of Ryan Sam's car. Both guys having DRS, kind of cancels it out. Now, will Mataman let his teammate go and hope that his teammate with the DRS can pull him up to ENTXJ, because at the moment he's losing time? Or is he going to fight it? Further back, what we got, Fingers now on the back of SPW. Now we're going to see a battle brew here. So SPW now will come back at Greenfingers, I think, because he gave up the DRS. Greenfingers now back on the attack, and look at the closing speed between the two. He's going to go for a big move down into turn 4. Oh, and that's great. Wheel racing there between the two, and it doesn't quite pay off. SPW carrying tremendous speed round the outside, and he touches the cup on the inside there, unsettles the car a little bit, but he gets away with one. So Matoman, oh, so it's some change. Mataman is now Helmet behind him, and the other Alpine soft compound tyre working for Helmet now. And he's doing bits. Mataman struggling a little bit on the E-Energy compared to everybody else. We got a yellow flag, that's Danny Boy in the Ferrari, not having a good day at all. Oh, and I think Dixie's just going to lose DRS. And get it, Dixie. Oh, I think he's just fallen outside it. So Pedro on Ryan Sam, and he chooses not to push. It's a big energy advantage, this Pedro. If he wants this soft start to work, he really needs to go. And look at these two still going at it. Mikey now sets the fastest lap of the race in a 31.3, and he's on the medium compound tyre, so... But it's this battle here, the Pedro, Ryan, Sam, Mataman now to P4, Helmet ahead, so Mataman is allowed somebody to get ahead, he just needs to stay there now, and he can do a bit of energy recovery. But Pedro, out of the podium guys, Pedro looking best set at the moment, 79% energy, the guys in front only 40%. Yellow flag, sector 3. Good evening, Joni, I think. I'm not sure exactly how you would say that. So is Pedro going to push to overtake? He's not at the moment. He probably doesn't really want to be sitting behind these medium tyres, he's got to get through. So where is the battles? Everybody's just sitting in the train, nobody really pushing on to really force an overtake. Let's go see the Clarky Bossman Charlie fight. See what's happening there. Charlie's got F loose all over the back of him. Green Fingers maybe eventually able to put some distance between him and SPW. F Lewis will go through on Charlie. Down into turn 1, easy DRS pass, and Clarky and Bossman got close but not quite there. Can Charlie get something done on the cutback? He gets a very good exit out of turn 3, but F Lewis will just scamper away. So Pedro has a choice now because his pit stop's going to be coming up. So he needs to decide if he's going to try and push through. One second, chat. Pedro just a little bit stuck at the moment. Oh, we get on board with Clarky. Here's a big moment. Oh, and F Lewis is out. Oh, what's happened there? This could be a safety car. This could be a safety car for the race, and this is exactly maybe what the soft tyres need. No safety car there. I'm stunned. No way there's no safety car there, that is... Whoa, that was really delayed. So safety car does come out. So, Pedro gets a big win. I think we're going to see most of the grid go to the hard compound tyre here. It's going to be just a race to the end now, I would say. Mataman's going to stay out. Oh Matt, why have you done this? Oh Matt, you've done one of your calls. Oh no. It may still work, but I'd be very, very stunned. Ryan Sam stays out as well, so Aston Martin boss choosing to stay in the strategy. Fingers is going to stay out as well. Mazepin comes out in the soft compound tyre, that is interesting. So, I'm intrigued by Aston's strategy call, but while the safety car comes out, I will grab another restroom break, chat. We can afford to be a little minute here, 1 second. So, I'm back to chat. Oh, is my audio okay? Yeah, I think it is. So, Matoman leads the way, Ryan Sam P2, Fingers P3, Mazepin 4, Helmet P5, Pedro P6, Dixie in P7, Bossman in 8, Clarky P9, SPW 10, Mitch P11, ENTXJ 12, Boxpub 13, Rage 14, Charlie 15, Ranger 16, Mikey 17, Messima 18, Danny Boy 19 and F Lewis in P20. Tyres. So our front three didn't pit, Mazepin went to the soft, so that's very, very interesting. So safety car in this lap, Mataman will take control of the pace of the grid. And this stint now for these Aston Martin boys is massive. Fingers in the other Mercedes, he could be onto something here. Oh, and look at this. It's going to give Fingers a jump. Fingers just needs to get the energy on now, and I think he's going to put one of these Astons under pressure here. Oh, what's happened there? Oh, I'm not quite sure exactly what happened there, but Mazepin's lost out a bit in the restart there. Helmade and Greenfingers going at it. Oh, and Greenfingers nearly drops the car, and he's now going to come under pressure from Pedro. Scripted. Ethan, what do you mean? Pedro and Fingers going under a bit of battle. Wolfsburg and Rangers further back. Oh, Wolfsburg's lost out a couple of positions here. Clarkey and Danny Boy both sneak through. So Mazepin now in his soft compound tyre as Helmade closes down, so we'll watch from the back. We're going to see two guys pull out here. Mazepin will then look to the inside line again. Yes, he does on the soft compound tyre in the Mercedes. He will go through. Ryan Sam accepts that he's going backwards a bit. And Pedro gets through on Greenfingers. Where are the battles forming? Mikey now on the McLaren in the soft compound tyre, and these softs will not do go to the end. 17 laps still to go, so we're going to have to box again. These guys in connection looking absolutely terrible there. Oh no. Oh, and Adams picked up damage. Mr. Rage gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So has the internet settled down? Oh, no, it's not. I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on with the lobby at the moment, but it does not look great. The lag looks a bit bonkers. So Pedro now on Ryan Sam. Can the medium tyre go the duration of the race? I am not so sure. That is the interesting question. So I think Pedro will now go through on Ryan Sam. DRS will pop open and through he goes. Mazepin sets the fastest lap. He's way out ahead. So Pedro now needs to chase down Matoman. Podium on the cards. where is the other battles? ENTXJ and Rage here, SPW and Ranger all in a bit of a tangle. Three wide, and Rage and SPW will go wheel to wheel, and I think Rage will defend the position. They're going to go side by side into turn 5. Space is left. It's cracking racing there, and Ranger now starting to get involved a little bit. Small bit of banging of wheels between Rage and SPW, but I think they all go through unscathed. Bossman now on the back of Fingers. Fingers up to P6, of course. These worn out tyres now starting to lose a bit of their juice, but they just need to stay with it. Try and hang it out to like 17, 18 and bolt on a set of softs and take them to the end. But Pedro getting right in this fight with Matoman and Helmaid. Matoman still got plenty of energy in the tank as well. Matoman, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Matoman ends up round. Sorry for the thing with chat, I'm in a little bit of pain, so I'm just trying to do comms and live with the pain at the same time. But Matoman has went well round. He drops now to P10, and I think that's going to be race over. I think 14 lap old mediums. He's probably going to have to box as well because they're going to be absolutely cooked now. Don't think he picked up any damage, but Pedro now into the podium positions and all over the back of Helmaid for P2. So the battles further back, where do we have? Clarky on the back of Dixie, that can maybe turn into something. Oh, and Ranger's out. This could be a safety car. We could have a safety car inbound. Even a VSC could play big for the soft guys. No, nothing at the moment. Pedro having a look at Helmaid here down into turn 1. Not quite this time around, but oh, and he runs the brakes a bit deep. Is that going to give him enough to get the run? And I think he will here. He'll get the run, and Helmaid now is going to use any energy. And Maz has been absolutely out in front in that Mercedes. Absolutely bonkers. Pedro's still staying behind. The penalty starting in the gaps have just broke out a little bit. We've got Mitsima and ENTXJ, they're still in each other's DRS zone. Other than that, there's not many battles brewing. It's this Pedro Helmaid fight, Mikey creeping into that as well, so Pedro picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings, so that's going to hurt his finishing position, as we will click down to just 8 laps to go, or 9, no, 12, sorry, can't count. VSC out, what's that for? Oh, Charlie's out! Charlie has lost the car. I think that's out of turn 6. Down the hill. Now, does anybody jump on that opportunity to box? Oh, it's a full safety car. Oh wow. Well. So, guys on the softs get a freebie. That's a big win. And again, the pack will come back together to have what will probably be about a 9 or 10 lap shootout to the end of the race. I think most drivers going to the softs. Now the question is, the guy that have run soft early, do they have any new sets left? I don't think so. So this could be tricky for the guys that get into Q2 and Q3. Mazepin in. I think Helmade will follow. I think most of the guys will box here. So everybody coming in. Let's see what Ryan, Sam and Danny Boy, Mitzi, Matt. Danny Boy recovered well. He's going to stay out in this hard compound tile. So Danny Boy is going to go into P2. And he will get out in front of Helmade. So Helmade could have pushed there. You don't need to keep to the delta until you get to the end of the pit lane. Helmade could have probably kept that P2, but Danny Boy gets it. Was Danny Boy bugged out here? I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on with Danny there. But the safety car is out, so Mazepin, Helmade, Pedro all for a medium tyre, possibly a new set. It's a slightly worn set. Mikey, Ryan, Sam, Rage, SPW, Matterman all went for the softs. Dixie, Mitch also went for the softs of Volksbob. Fingers, ENTXJ, Bossman, the medium tyres, although Bossman on the hards. The medium will be more, oh excuse me chat, the medium will be more than comfortable to get you to the end of the race. So how long until Mitch catches up? Probably one more lap on the safety car, so it will be a 10 lap shootout. One minute to chat. safety car will go in this lap. As it's been lead away. Danny Boy in P2 on that 10 lap old hard compound tyre. It's a very, very interesting call there from Danny. Interesting to see how that one plays out. Get Helmade in P3, Pedro 4, Mikey P5, Brian Sam 6, Ray 7, SPW 8, Mataman P9, Mitsima, Eddie and TSJ at the back of that top 10, but Mazepin is going to be a man to get going, and he is away now. He's going to catch Danny napping a little bit. Oh, and Helmade's going to get an illegal overtake. No? Oh, that looked a little early there from Helmade, I'm unsure. He's obviously got away with that one. Pedro looking to the inside of Danny Boy as well. Danny Boy's going to leave space for his medium compadre. Mikey has to get out a bit there as Danny just struggled getting out the turn 3 a little bit on his obviously colder hard compound tyre. He'll defend that inside line from Ryan Sam. Mikey now goes through on his softs. What's happened further back in TXJ? What happened to Jay? Mitzi Matt is off as predicted. Pedro all over the back of Helmade in that Ferrari. Mitch has left the session. So Mitch may be having connection issues. Mikey's going to join the fight. Do the soft tyres last to the end? That's the interesting call. Look at the straight line speed of that McLaren. It's an absolute rocket. Pedro looks to defend round the outside. He'll go for the cutback. Mataman thought about coming through, but it wasn't there that time around. He'll get the better exit. He has to file in behind. So nothing quite going there, but it is all kicking off at the front of the grid. The P2 battle as well and truly on. Mazepin, as we knew it would be the case, is all the way through. Mataman tries up the inside of Pedro now, but it's not quite there that time around. Pedro rightfully so fighting it as hard as he possibly can. Plenty of energy on tap, this Pedro, so he'll use that as a defensive tactic. He just needs to stay with these guys up front, wait till he gets to DRS, and then defending will be much, much easier. So, Matoman, he's still there or thereabouts. Pedro's going to stay in the toe. Everybody trying to do a bit of weaving and toe braking. It's not quite there for them at the moment. Mitch has managed to join back. DRS has been enabled. Oh, Helmade has a bit of a moment there. Oh, and Pedro's had to get out it. That's going to give Mataman the opportunity to strike now. Hopefully Pedro didn't pick up any damage there. Oh, and he nearly drops it on oversteer, but good racing there between Mataman, Helmade and Pedro. Pedro now looking a bit faster. Oh, and Mataman, where is he gone there? SPW now up to P7 and having a very, very strong second stint of the race. If he can stay in this pack, he may just have a fight in it. And we're getting no interval gap, which is quite annoying. So we'll look at positions changed. SPW's gained 10, Mikey up from the back of the grid from P17. From P19 actually, so it's been a huge performance there from Mikey. Mataman where he started, so he'll be reasonably happy. Pedro can recover to P4, he'll be reasonably happy as well, but he is under threat. And I'm not getting to see the interval gap, which is really annoying, so I don't know if everybody's got DRS. Oh, and this will give Pedro the run now. He's going to pop that DRS open. He's going to drag race him to the line. He's got that ERS advantage. He'll go to the inside to turn 4. There's contact. Pedro has to do a bit of opposite lock there, but a small bit of contact again. But somehow they both get away. Does Ryan Sam be opportunistic against Pedro down the hill into turn 8? I don't think he can this time around. Pedro will stay in the DRS. It's just what comes of it. His helmet dropped out, I think he has, so Pedro, will he push through here? He probably best have just to stay behind and then go on the main straight. You don't want to overtake because you'd just probably be taking it back over on that main straight yourself because you just give them DRS back, although helmet has a big moment and Pedro will just sweep through. Ryan Sam has to get out a bit, so Pedro can use that now to find a bit of time against the guys. Push, 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 break DRS and go focusing on the lead. Well, not the lead, but I guess Matoman in P3. Do a bit of chasing down. Pedro, of course, got that penalty, so that is going to be dividends at the end of the race. But Ryan Sam now will go through and helmet. SPW fell off the back of that fight a little bit. Green fingers up to P9. What's happened there? Oh, Mitzi Matt Pitt. He's off his medium compound tyre. Dixie now up to P11. Recovered well, he was further down on the safety car restart, so he's managed to do a bit of racing and find himself back out the grid a bit. Pedro's still weaving away. He knows there's five laps to go, and he knows that it's on the line. The soft tyre will go. A couple of laps time, it's just not going to give the performance. The medium tyre will be in a window where it's just better. So you just got to get there. ENTXJ and SPW now having a bit of a battle. Here comes SPW, he'll get the DRS assistance. ENTXJ will defend the inside line, but I think he knows that SPW will go through to the racing line. And SPW now up 10 positions, up to P7, although ENTXJ looks to that inside line because SPW went a bit deep. The squeeze gets on. And SPW is leaving space. He has been very, very fair on fingers. It's touched the curb and put the car round. So that's going to lose him out in positions, and ENTXJ will go back through under DRS. Get on the brakes, and these guys, SPW and ENTXJ, having a good little battle here. So where is the battles going to come from? Ryan Sam all over the back of Pedro. I think we should stay with this one. I think this is a big one. P4. And guys, who do we think will be thinking that's pretty lucky come the end of the race? I think Matoman saved by the safety car massively. I think he made the wrong strategy call. Pedro bluffing the pits a little bit. Just trying to make it difficult. He's low in the energy as well. Ryan Sam creeps up and creeps up. Don't think he's going to be close enough. He'll show him the inside line. Pedro defends it off. our defending champion. And our Constructors champion, going to do a battle. Ryan Sam's going to flick to the inside line. Pedro gave him the little bit of the weave. He'll get the squeeze on down the inside into turn 4. Pedro try and hold it on the outside line, but he gets through, just a better grip. Easy to get down and push on through. Now Pedro just needs to stay there. He's got a helmet closing in behind, of course. The soft tyres on exit of the corners is going to start giving up in the next couple of laps, so Pedro can stay here. It is not over. So let's have a look at the penalties. 5 seconds for Ryan Sam. Now that may be one that's to be removed. It may be one for under the safety car. If he's speeding into the pits, I think that's a slam dunk penalty. There's not much you can do about that. Pedro happy just to hang on now. They've dropped Helmet out of DRS. So Pedro knows that his battle today is with Ryan Sam. And he will go back through, I think, out of this last corner. Pedro back under DRS, through he goes. Back to P4. Ryan Sam has to tuck in behind, but of course on the run up to turn 4, if you can get the better exit, Ryan Sam has some DRS in return, but Pedro seems to be very good out of turns 1 and 2. Gets the power on nicely and gets himself up the road. And look at Mikey now on Maz's spin. Look at this, we've been very quiet and not really thought of what's going on, but Mikey in the McLaren creeping up to Mazepin. He's had it quiet the full race, but it is going to kick off. And Mazepin, very low in energy, he's having to push on. Clarkey in the Williams for the fastest lap of the race in a 29.4. Down in P17. SPW and Fingers having a bit of a fight. I think Fingers got through on SPW. Oh, SPW's get damage. No, and look at Fingers here. He's going to go through in Wolfsburg, but I think he gave up DRS, so Wolfsburg's just going to come straight back through. Who got the DRS? Oh, they crossed the line at identical time, so nobody got it. Absolutely nobody. Wolfsburg will look, he'll flick to the inside line. Fingers will stay in the middle of the track. And the Fingers will go back to the racing line for the more open line into turn 1. Wolfsburg in that much tighter line that gets the exit. Now Fingers, who gets the DRS? None of them again? Why is nobody getting DRS? I'm very confused. Pedro and Ryan Sam still going at it here. It's been a battle of the ages. Mikey now in striking range. He's in that DRS range of Mazepin as we come on to the end of Sector 2 for the penultimate time of this race. So if Mikey's going to win this race, he needs to push now. Mitch picks up another time penalty for multiple warnings there. Mikey's still in that DRS range, or he just crept back into it there for the run up to turn 2, but Mazepin gets a very good exit out of 2 on the very last lap of the race. Pedro and Ryan Sam. Has Pedro done enough? He's going to keep it nice and tidy as Ryan Sam. Oh, and he has a big oversteer moment. I think the soft tyres are just past the peak of the performance. Pedro's going to scamper away down the road. Ryan Sam will deploy as much as he dares down to turn 4, but I think the gap's just not quite there. So I think Pedro might just hang on to that P4. screen. Fingers and Volksbob having a good little tussle come the end of the race. So this is the one, but let's go to Mazepin as he comes to the last corner on the final lap. He is going to take the checker flag. It's been utter annihilation in the Mercedes car. To the line, Mazepin comes, he will win OTL's realistic round 1 at Bahrain. Mikey will come home at P2 from that stellar drive at the back. Matoman with a solid brought home podium. And then Pedro will bring home P4. He's going to try and keep out that DRS of Ryan Sam. Pedro will be very happy with a P4 home. Ryan Sam gets P5. Helmaid will jump to 5. Ryan Sam drop to 6. ENTXJ I think will stay in P7. Bossman will hold on to that P8 as well because Fingers is 5.5 behind. Oh no, he gets it. Fingers jumps ahead. Fingers goes to P8. Volkswagen down to P9. Mitzi Matt and the SPW on a drag race to the line. Mitzi Matt will go through it, but SPW will get the position back. He gets P11 at the line. Mitzi Matt 12. Dixie gets to 12. Mitzi Matt will go P13. Danny Boyle 14. Mr. Rage 15. Mitch 16. Clarky P17. Oh no, Clarky gets 16 and I think Mitch 17 after the penalties. And that was good. So I can upbeat. Mikey gets it every day for the game, I think. No questions. P19 to P2. Very, very easy decision there for the game. Made safety car, of course, helped a couple of guys out massively. But that being said, very, very, very good race. Now, I don't know if Rage wants interviews. Rage, are you watching? So I'm unsure. Rage, if you are here, sir, have we got any word for doing it? So Mazepin wins, Mikey 2, Matoman 3, Pedro 4, Helmaid 5, Ryan Sam 6. ENTSJ P7, Fingers P8, Volkswagen P9, Bossman P10, SPW 11, Dixie P12, Mitzi Matt 13, Clarky 14, Danny Boy 15, Mr. Rage P16 in the end, and Mitch in P17. Charlie, Ranger, F. Lewis are 3 DNFs of the evening. So we'll get Mazepin, Mikey and Matoman in for a chitty chat because I've had word from the boss man. We have to do some interviews. So there's Matt. Where is Mikey? Bear with the blue screen for a minute, guys. I just need to find me peoples. Mikey's went offline, so we may not get him for comms. And Maze Spin, or Mazzy Spin as people would say. Oh no. Yes, Rage, I'm going to do interviews. I'm just trying to add the guys now. Mazzy Spin with a hyphen. So Mazzy Spin, and then Matoman and Mikey. Matoman and Mikey. Mikey has went offline, so I don't know if Mikey will come in. To get a chat, he's maybe away. But we'll see if Mazzy Spin and Matoman join. Mikey may join, I could be wrong. But good job to everybody involved. I think Pedro and Ryan Sam had a good thrilling battle near the end. Some good drives all round. Don't know if we're doing it. We're doing a comms driver of the day, Rage, or no? Does it not matter for here, or is the points the same? Or I think they're the same, right? So I need to make a call. Right? I think I may. So Matoman joins. We'll wait to see if our race winner joins us.
Yeah, what's it? I just speaking to Rage then.
1 second, please, Matt. We're still live. We'll just wait to see if Mazespin joins.
You know.
I think Mikey went offline, so I don't think Mikey's going to join us.
I think it was a reserve tonight as well.
Oh, so that means Pedro was P3?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Oh, is that what you were going to tell me?
Yes.
Oh, right, so we've got Pedro to talk to as well. Oh, I never thought I would ever speak to this guy in a racing interview, but here we go. We'll get him in. So Pedro finished P3 then, so you get P2 in the end, Matthew, would that be right?
Yes, I believe that is correct, yeah.
So Mazespin has not joined, so we'll just start with you, Matthew. I think it was a story of two safety cars. The race, really. First safety car. It came at a time in the medium compound tyre where it was tricky, right? Because it was about lap 8 or 9. You had the really tough option. Softs were never going to make it. Hard tyres would make it, but it's really not a good tyre. You ideally wanted to try and medium it again, but you didn't have that option, so you chose to stay out. Fortunately for that, the later safety car came. Now I know you had the incident as well that we'll get to in the middle of the race. I'm not quite sure exactly how you went round, but in all, happy with your results?
Yes, I'm actually quite happy with that after that incident. Yeah, when that first safety car came out, I kind of thought might as well stay out and stick to a one stop because it was proving to be the better option. In the last races, so that's what I stuck to, and yeah, it worked out. It played out quite well with the second safety car coming out as well.
Would you think the strategy would have maybe been a bit tougher if that second safety car doesn't come out?
I don't think so. Either way, I reckon it would have been. It wouldn't have been that detrimental. I don't think. But it just sort of icing on the cake that it did, and it sort of helped save my soft tyres up until when it went back in.
Yep. So in all, I think it was clear, especially from qualifying, Mazespin was just out there. We're always going to, as I said, we're always going to have one of these guys that are just a little bit out in front and hard to reach, although Mikey did get him sweating a bit come the end of the race. But do you think there was any fight in that, or just P2 was kind of the best you were going to get?
I was hoping, yeah, P2 is probably what I was aiming for towards the end, because I could see him shooting away. I thought, right, I ain't got the tyres here now to actually get anywhere, like make a dent in him. But I'm happy with P2, happy for the points. Really, I'm just looking forward to the struggle next week.
Yes, of course, we head to Jeddah, which will be very, very interesting. But anyway, first race, first podium. Good job, Matthew.
Yeah,
you converted a good qualifying as well, so that's exactly what we had to do. Top job.
Thank you.
We will go to our P3 man, who I didn't know was P3 until I actually told Matt to just wait a minute, but he was actually trying to relay some information. Pedro, you were enthralled in a bit of a battle there at the end with Ryan, Sam. It was a case of keep him behind until your medium tyre became better, and then it was a bit easier. But it seemed quite an exciting race for your side.
I was just skiing at everything because I know he had the 5-second penalty at the 3, so I was kind of expecting him to go back past me in the last lap, but I left a wee bit of ERS just to counter that, and the race was no bad.
So the first stint you were pretty much in the train. I think that was really your race, right? Every stint you just sat in the train and then picked your overtakes.
Well, the first safety car just came out nearer the end of my stint, but my soft tyres were on 60%, but they felt great, so they did. So I was just lining up Helmade actually to get into second, I fancy I could have got another 3-4 laps out of that. But aye, the strategy's changed a wee bit with the safety car. I kind of started in the softs knowing there's drivers like Green Fingers and Adam and that, so you know you're kind of guaranteed a safety car.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
I see what's happening there. I like it. I like it. So, in all, happy with your performance, Pedro? Look
Yes.
forward to next week. Of course, you'll be now in a slightly lower performing car, so it may not be so fun. But make the
It
most
works
of it.
out good for me because Jeddah wasn't a strong track for me anyway, so I'd rather be in the slower car for that track.
And maybe get a better car for a better track in the future.
Yes.
Oh well, something to look forward to. Good job though, mate. P3. Good start
Yep.
to the season.
Cheers.
Marzispin, the man that became very apparent that the Mercedes was going to annihilate every day in the first qualifying session. It was pretty easy sailing to the point that you even took a little risk on strategy, putting that soft tyre on in the middle of the race, but I think you needed the pace in hand to make it work, right?
Yeah, that's it. As soon as the safety car come out, I thought, well, we're going to go on to hards originally, and then I just thought, nah, I've got pace. Well, it's that car, I swear to God, it's so fast. So yeah, I thought I'll put softs on, and then I had 3-4 runners in front of me, so managed to get past them. And then yeah, it was just a pretty good run. Then Mikey really had me sweating towards the end. They had 2 warnings as well, so.
So that was it was critical for the guys further back in the penalties, but use guys out front. I think it's a bit easier, right? Just to use the pace of the car, and you can kind of push the limits a bit better.
Definitely, because a few corners where like overbrake or underbrake myself, and then you can just correct yourself, and you know that you've still got plenty of time to the car behind you. So yeah, definitely. When you're in a slower car like I will be next week, you haven't got that privilege.
Well, that's the thing we get onto next. Next week, of course, you're going to start a little further down the grid. So, what do you anticipate for Jeddah?
Yeah, well, I like Jeddah. It's a good track. I think I've done about 4 races on there. Done 200% on there, and yeah, I feel confident on it. So. Hopefully, I'm not expecting another podium. They're few and far between, so I'm just hoping for a points finish maybe. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, good stuff. I look forward to it. Of course, I am on the comes for the future of the season, so I will be here all of the way, and it'll be interesting to see how you all adapt every week as per the car.
Yeah,
see how the
that's
season
it.
plays
It's going to
out.
be interesting. So yeah, I've enjoyed tonight. I'll take it while I've got it, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, looking forward to it.
I'll let you know next week in a wee interview after the race.
Oh,
yeah, it's really good league as well to be in, doing realistic. I love it. So
yeah, it definitely adds a dynamic that makes it. I think it just gives people opportunity that maybe don't fight at the front to fight at the front, and I think everybody should be entitled to that opportunity. So I think the realistic's a good platform for that.
Yeah, that's it. You've just got to contend with not being in it. When,
Yes.
when you're up front, and then there's that, and then with Mikey behind you, because he is quick, Mikey as well. So yeah.
But anyways,
in the end, sound.
Top job, mate. Matoman, very well done in P2. Pedro, solid job for P3. It's a good way to start the season. Of course, it may not feel so good next week, but that's just the way it goes. Driver of the day on my end. I don't know if Rage wanted it, but I'm going to call it anyway in case it has to be done. I think it was tricky because the midfield battle was pretty stacked, but drivers that were up and down in a bit of battle, I think Fingers would be my driver of the day. He seemed to be the guy doing the most overtaking and not just waiting for DRS passes as well. Of course, safety cars make a bit of difference, but I think driver in terms of driving and overtaking and doing so much, and I think Fingers gets my vote.
I think that's a good call.
My teammate for the night.
Like, he actually finished the race without causing safety car.
I guess that's worthy a
Fair
driver a day on its own right.
That's it.
So on that note, OTL Realistic will be back next week, and of course back with normal OTL on Monday. We'll see